3 minutes ago, you were pumped. You found the perfect place for your next vacation. Then the total pops up and your brain goes, never mind. Pick wrong and you don't just lose a weekend. You torch $300 to $400 before you even land, then spend the trip saying no to the fun stuff. Cheap travel isn't a secret promo code. It's choosing places where everyday prices feel normal, where $5 or $6 gets you a bowl of pho that actually fills you up, not an $18 JFK sandwich that tastes like regret. These are places I've been, and I double-checked prices, so it's not just vibes. For each destination, I'll give you the 1 or 2 numbers that matter most, what a solid day costs, and the little gotchas that sneak into your budget, like quick rides, small entry fees, or that surprise cash-only moment. A few picks are far, so flights can look brutal at first glance. Stick around till the end. I'll show you 4 easy ways travelers cut airfare without doing anything weird. First stop gets called boring. Keep that word handy, because $12 there buys a full plate and a drink, and it's not where you think. Most people write this one off as boring. And if you guessed Greece or Croatia, nope, it's Albania. Yes, $12 can get you a full plate and a drink by the water if you step off the most touristy strip. It feels like Montenegro before the prices spiked, the same blue water, none of the Croatia checkout screen. Most days run $25 to $35. Espresso's about $1. Seafood pasta is $10 to $14, and the Ionian coast is pure turquoise. Even at $50 to $75 a day, you've still got cushion. My first seaside dinner in Saranda, I actually asked if they forgot to charge me for something. They didn't. That was the moment I realized, this is real dinner money here, not snack money. Quick map. Ksemil is the busy beach scene, and it's where people accidentally overspend on beach clubs. Himar or Dermi is where it starts feeling like a steal. Want a totally different Albania? Go north near Lech. Agro-tourism, long farm lunches, local wine, prices that feel stuck in the past. Roads are rougher, which keeps mass tours away, and Besa hospitality is real. Forgone minibuses between towns cost a few bucks. Outside the beach club strip, you're not constantly playing the chair fee game. If you want the I can't believe this is real day, Lake Komani and the Shala River, boat through limestone cliffs, emerald water, spotty signal, a little wooden bar on the shore. Hard left into history, Gjirokastër, a UNESCO stone city, plus Cold War bunkers turned into cafes. Give me one more stop. Next door, Bosnia and Herzegovina is where East meets West, and Sarajevo's cheap meal might be your best bite all trip. Sarajevo hits you with that 2 empires in 1 block feeling. You'll walk past an Ottoman-era bazaar, turn one corner, and suddenly you're staring at Austro-Hungarian facades. Like the city can't decide which century it's in. Bosnia and Herzegovina sits in the heart of the Balkans, bordered by Croatia, Serbia, and Montenegro, with a tiny slice of Adriatic coastline. And it's the kind of place where your budget stretches a lot further than it does just across the border in Croatia. Money talk. If you're doing it comfortably, simple hotels, local meals, a couple of paid sites, $35 to $55 per day is a very real lane in a lot of traveler areas. Same sit down and order the good thing day, just less financial punishment. Step into Basharshia, and the vibe is instant. Cobblestone lanes, coppersmiths hammering metal, tiny cafes where people linger forever. You'll hear a call to prayer drift over the valley while trams rattle by and European-style buildings sit a block away. It doesn't feel staged. It feels lived in. Food deserves its own episode. In plenty of spots, $3 to $5 still gets you a legit sit-down plate. Cevapi, burek, soups, sweets, the kind of meal that's warm, filling, and unfairly good for the price. Mostar is absolutely worth a day trip from Sarajevo. And the reason I lean day trip is simple. Sarajevo is the base that keeps everything easy. More options, better value, less tourist markup pressure. You go get the bridge and that river view in daylight, grab a late lunch, then roll back and sleep cheap. And here's the part that makes Bosnia feel like a steal. The nature doesn't look budget at all. Una and Neretva have that emerald water look people pay crazy money for in the Alps, and rafting here is one of the best value plays in Europe. One tiny gotcha that saves headaches, Bosnia runs on the convertible mark, bam! And a little cash just keeps life smoother for cafes, markets, and small stuff. ATMs are easy. Just don't let a screen helpfully lock you into a bad conversion. All right, be honest. Are you sleeping in Sarajevo or Mostar? Drop one word. Leaving Europe for a second. El Salvador is coming up. Volcano sunrise, beach sunset, same day. El Salvador is tiny, which means your day doesn't get eaten alive by transit. You can wake up to volcano air and still make it back to the Pacific coast before golden hour. No 5-hour bus math, just a quick hop across the map. A lot of people still picture the old headlines, and I get it. What surprises travelers is how different the main visitor corridors feel now. Smoother roads, more movement, and a country that's clearly trying to welcome people back. Plain version. Stick to the busy traveler areas, move around in daylight, and don't make yourself an easy target. Budget-wise, it's friendly in a very simple way. It runs on US dollars, so you're not constantly converting in your head. In a lot of spots, $30 of 40 a day feels comfortable, and pupusas are the national flex, stuffed corn cakes with cheese or meat, usually 50 cents to $1 each. 2 or 3 can be a full meal, not a snack that costs dinner money. Surf City, especially El Zonte on the Pacific, pulls most people in first. You'll still see Bitcoin Beach leftovers, QR codes, stickers, a few nomads, but the nice part is it helped create that backpacker sweet spot. Casual cafes, simple stays, easy-to-live prices. You don't have to touch crypto to enjoy it. Most places take cash and cards like normal, with the occasional cash-only spot. If you want cooler weather, Ruta de las Flores winds through mountain towns in the west. Coffee farms, colonial streets, weekend food festivals that feel like a block party, and you can eat cheap all afternoon. Nearby, Lake Cotepeque is the calm Crater Lake day. Blue-green water, swimming, kayaking, and views that don't feel real. One small money trap, weekends get busier, and tours drivers can bump prices a bit. Midweek is usually the sweet spot. For the underrated calm corner, Suchitoto sits up near Lake Suchitlan, not far from the capital. Quiet cobblestones, whitewashed houses, indigo dye workshops, birds everywhere. It's the kind of place that makes the beach crowd feel loud in hindsight. Guatemala's coming. Bigger, wilder, Maya history everywhere. And there's one rule about getting around that changes the whole trip if you get it wrong. Breakfast in Guatemala can be church bells, a market just waking up, and that feeling that Maya culture is still sitting right under the Spanish colonial surface. It's just south of Mexico, but it somehow fits colonial streets, Crater Lake days, and deep jungle temples into one trip. Budget reality. If you're budgeting $50 to $75, the formula is simple. Shared shuttles, local diners, modest rooms. People drift into $90 to $110 when they stack private rides, nicer stays, and extra tours, so I'm keeping you on the good value track. And don't book your long hops last minute. Those are the ones that love to jump in price. Lake Atitlan is the slow wow day in the highlands. Little towns around a huge volcanic lake, cheap boat hops, weaving workshops, views that make you forget your phone exists. Skip the walk the lakeside path at dusk idea. Boats are the move. Antigua is the easiest base for the classic rhythm. Cafes, markets, rooftop sunsets, and streets you'll keep wandering. It's also where people book Acatenango with a reputable local guide, hike up and watch Volcan Fuego glow and rumble across the valley at night, like the horizon is breathing. Tikal is your movie-scale moment in the northern jungle. Semak Champi is the how is this real water day, and the rougher journey is basically the price you pay for it, still feeling wild. One word that keeps Guatemala fun instead of stressful: vetted. If the shuttle, driver, or guide isn't reputable, I pass, especially for longer routes and any hike. And yeah, the colorful chicken buses look iconic, but if you're trying to keep the trip smooth, trusted shuttles and qualified guides are the move. If you had to pick one first, Atitlan for lake days, Antigua for the streets, or Tikal for the jungle temples? While you decide, Vietnam is the place where food and adventure happen in the same breath. Vietnam is the rare place where street food tastes like a flex, and by day 2, you stop doing the mental math. Banh mi, pho, iced coffee on a plastic stool. Then you see the total, and it doesn't come with that I just got robbed feeling. I met Americans in Hoi An who ate banh mi all week because it was that good. After that, a $15 sandwich back home feels personal. Daily costs can sit in that $20 to $30 zone if you keep it simple, and hostels can be shockingly nice, sometimes even with a pool for the price of a movie ticket. Adventure-wise, it keeps getting better. Up in the far north near the China border, the Hajang Loop is the big headline. Knife-edge limestone cliffs, hairpin roads, and the Nokwe River glowing down in the gorge. Not a confident rider? Easy Rider guides make it doable. Just don't freestyle it. Go with a reputable group, real helmets, and know one beer before the ride. For something close to Hanoi, Ninh Binh is the easy win. People call it Ha Long Bay on land. Rowboat through caves and rice fields. Then you hit Mua Viewpoint and think, all right, where's the tourist tax? It never shows up. Want the hidden stuff? Central Vietnam, around Phong Nha, has cave expeditions where you actually swim into the dark with a headlamp, not just stroll a paved path. Next up, Cambodia, the underrated neighbor with Angkor Wat energy and tuk-tuk days that cost less than a ride to the airport. Cambodia has this very specific moment where you hand over a US bill, and they hand it right back. Not because it's fake, because it's creased, torn, or a little stained. Noted. And honestly, Cambodia gets stuck between Thailand and Vietnam in people's heads. Like, we'll do it next time. If you're traveling in that $30 to $50 per day lane, skipping it is basically making your own life harder. You can run the tab up with nicer hotels and private everything. Sure, but the comfort without splurging version is very real here. Siem Reap up in the northwest near the Thailand side is your launch pad. Angkor isn't a one-temple day, it's a three-punch combo. Sunrise that makes you shut up, a jungle temple, Ta Prohm vibes, where roots are eating stone, and a face temple, Bion Energy, where those giant carvings make your camera roll feel judged. And you don't have to learn history like homework to feel how massive it is. A tuk-tuk driver is the move. Around $15 to $20 often gets you your own ride for the day, plus someone who knows when to hit each stop so you're not stuck in a human traffic jam. It keeps the day simple, no heat-soaked map panic. Money's mostly US dollars, with small change in Real. One annoying little gotcha. Torn or stained USD bills can get rejected, so keep your cash crisp. Newer bills help. Phnom Penh is worth a day for contrast. Royal Palace for the beauty, then one history stop that stays with you. It's the one day that can change how you feel about the whole country. If you want the off switch after temple days, head south to Koh Rong Sanlom. Quiet beach bungalows, clear water, and on the right nights, a free swim with glowing plankton that feels like a magic trick. One safety note, border areas can flare up without warning. Check current advisories the week you go, and if your map app suggests a shortcut near the Thailand border, don't take it. Stick to the usual tourist routes and the trip stays smooth. Now, Laos is the kind of place you plan to stop by for a day, and then 3 days vanish and you still don't feel ready to leave. In Laos, the loudest thing in your morning can be a bicycle bell and the river. After Vietnam and Cambodia, it's where your body finally stops sprinting. It's landlocked, tucked between Thailand and Vietnam, with Cambodia and China not far off, and it rewards anyone who's tired of racing a checklist. Luang Prabang is the heart of it, sitting where the Mekong meets the Nam Khan. French colonial buildings, golden temples, soft mornings. If you're up early, you can watch the almsgiving walk at dawn, locals offering sticky rice as monks pass through the streets. If you watch, do it quietly. No flash, no blocking, and don't treat it like a photo op. Then the town slips into cafe mode, like that's the main event. Vang Vieng is the playful side. Limestone mountains, blue lagoons, caves, kayaking, tubing. You plan one active day and somehow you're still there 3 days later. And if you want the adventure that feels way bigger than the country's size, Laos quietly delivers. That Mekong slowboat day isn't just transport, it's jungle cliffs, little riverside villages, and the kind of no-signal calm you don't get anymore. In the north, places like Nong Kiao give you the postcard limestone views with hikes that actually make you earn the sunset. Budget-wise, Laos is easiest when you keep your moves intentional. Pick 1 or 2 bases, let the days stretch. Rent a bike for a couple bucks, eat simple local meals like noodles and grilled fish, sleep in clean guest houses around $10 to $15 a night, and even boutique stays can stay surprisingly reasonable. For a road trip style hit of adrenaline, the Thakek Loop in central Laos is the classic. Motorbike days through karst scenery, giant caves like Kong Lor, swimming holes, tiny homestays for $5 to $7. One very Laos-specific tip: don't try to prove something on the road. Start early, stop when the sky turns ugly, and treat rain like a hard no, not a challenge. Then you cross into northern Thailand and the vibe flips. Cooler air, cafe and massage rhythm, and Chiang Mai energy that turns a week into a month. Northern Thailand is where you blink and somehow you've been here a month, because your day looks like cafe laptop, $2 lunch, and a Thai massage like it's a normal Tuesday. Chiang Mai is the classic base. It's the kind of place where you realize you've been eating out every meal, working from cafes, getting Thai massages, and you're still not sweating the numbers. Inside the old city walls, it's walkable, easy, and built for that remote work rhythm. Food is the friendly trap. Street meals can run $1, $2, and you keep ordering one more thing because it's cheap and you're curious. Khao soi is the northern signature, curry noodle soup that tastes like comfort food got upgraded. Add skewers, mango sticky rice, fruit shakes. It's hard to miss. Once Chiang Mai feels familiar, people branch out. Quiet and artsy? Chiang Rai up north. Mountain reset? Pai, hippie little town, rice field views, bungalows that cost less than a basic hotel room in most cities, live acoustic music at night. If you want to ride where the road is the point, the Mai Hong Son Loop is the one. Nearly 2,000 curves through mountain scenery, cloud views, and little stops that make you accidentally linger. If you're a remote worker, where would you accidentally stay a month? Chiang Mai, Luang Prabang, or somewhere else? Comment your base. And when you're ready to trade mountains for water that looks suspiciously like a filter, the Philippines is the one, except half the time it looks even more unreal in person. In the Philippines, you'll have that moment where you step off the boat, look at the water, and wait for the honeymoon pricing to hit. Then you see the day's total and realize, nope, this is still a real person budget. Make 2 or 3 good calls, shared transfers, simple meals, split a room, and the budget behaves. Biggest money leak here is last-minute boats and private transfers. Book shared, and the numbers stay calm. A lot of travelers land in that $45 to $70 per day lane with that approach. Palawan is where the jaw-drop scenery lives. El Nido and Coron are all limestone cliffs and glass-clear bays, and the snorkeling is the kind that makes you forget what time it is. I spent about 3 weeks in the Philippines, and El Nido was the favorite because it's relaxed. Small-town energy. Then you're on a boat 10 minutes later surrounded by islands. We're not even big hostel people, but in El Nido, we stayed at Spin and loved it. Clean, social, and a private room was often in that $25 to $40 range. Renting a scooter for a day or two is another cheat code, about $8 per day, and it's how you end up with a random beach, basically to yourself. Island hopping is the one splurge I'd still do. In a lot of places, you're paying roughly $20 to $35 for a full day, boat, stops, snorkeling time, and usually lunch, so it feels more like an experience than a fee. If you want quieter and cheaper, people skip the Manila traffic and Boracay crowds and aim for smaller gems. Sikijor is the Witch Island vibe, calm beaches and Cambodia High Falls, where you can Tarzan swing into the water when the ropes are up. Moalboal in Cebu is the zero-effort miracle. You can swim into a swirling sardine run right from shore with just a mask. And this is where the Philippines really separates itself from what's coming next. It's the water day specialist. You're not here to do everything. You're here to stack absurd ocean moments back to back and still sleep like you didn't get tourist taxed all day. Indonesia is next, and it's a different type of dopamine. Philippines is for blue water days. Indonesia is for volcano and waterfall days. Indonesia is where you realize Bali is just the lobby. Step into Java and suddenly it's volcanoes, waterfalls, crater lakes. Like the country keeps escalating. The shock is, getting around can be weirdly easy. You can hop on comfortable trains past rice fields and volcanoes for roughly $10 to $20, and it's often smoother than juggling flights and ferries. Do warongs for meals and trains for long hops, and the daily number stays low without feeling stingy. Warongs are the secret weapon, hot plates of nasi goreng for around $1, plus a juice, and you're full without doing math. Lombok has been getting a lot of attention as the calmer alternative. Different Kuta, same name. Lombok's version is the quieter one, with cleaner beaches and cheaper surf lessons. If you're up for a real challenge, Rinjani is the big hike, Crater Lake payoff that looks unreal. Go with a reputable guide because weather turns that hike from hard to stupid fast. Over on Sumatra, Lake Toba feels like its own planet, a massive volcanic lake with Samosir Island in the middle. Rent a scooter, loop around, and dip into Batak culture without the Bali crowds. If you want postcard water without postcard pricing, Karimun Jawa, off the north coast of Java, clear seas, coral, sleepy island energy. If you want Jurassic energy, Tumpak Sewu in East Java, a curved wall of waterfalls with Mount Semeru smoking in the background. I get this question constantly: Philippines or Indonesia? For me, Indonesia wins for food and that everything feels easier travel flow. The person I travel with leans Philippines for the pure beach and water days. Where do you land? Indonesia or Philippines? Drop one word in the comments. Okay, hard cut to a totally different vibe. The kind of jump from tropical islands to future city overnight, that's China. China is one of the only places where you'll pay for noodles with a QR code, then turn a corner and end up in an alley that looks 1,000 years old. If you've been telling yourself it's too complicated, this is the one detail that makes it feel way more doable. For US passports, the strongest easy mode is often the 240-hour, 10-day transit window. Two things matter: a confirmed onward ticket to a third country/region and staying within the allowed areas for that transit stay. If those two boxes are checked, a maybe someday trip suddenly looks very real. Budget-wise, people get surprised, especially once you lean into trains and normal local life instead of airport hopping. Keep lodging simple, eat locally, and $40 to $70 per day can be realistic outside the biggest city splurges. It's also a pick-your-vibe country. Down south near Guilin, Yangshuo is the painted landscape one. Bike between limestone peaks, drift a bamboo raft on the Li River, snack your way through the afternoon. Fenghuang in Hunan is the moody ancient town mood. Weekday mornings feel like the whole place is still half asleep. Shaxi in Yunnan is the breather, sitting between the crowded stops of Dali and Lijiang with old wooden houses and that Teahouse road feel. And Zhangjiaji is the moment your brain glitches. Those stone pillars don't look like they belong on Earth. It's the one that makes you stop mid-step and forget what you were saying. One real-life heads up: a lot of places are phone payment first. Picture this: you buy something small, hand over cash, and they just don't have change. There's a line behind you, you're doing polite panic, and suddenly you're wishing you handled it earlier. If your trip is mostly cities and tourist routes, having Alipay and/or WeChat Pay set up before you land saves you that whole scene. Cash is legal, it's just not always the smooth option. Two things to prep at home: the transit window plus a payment app. India is the kind of shift that flips a switch. There's a real chance you end up in one of two modes. You fall in love immediately, or you learn fast how to pace yourself so the place doesn't pace you. India can feel like you walked into every color, sound, and smell at the same time. And then, 5 minutes later, you're standing in total quiet, watching water move through palm-lined canals. That's why a lot of travelers have been leaning south to places like Kerala, or heading up to the far northeast when they want the magic without being on max volume all day. Kerala, down on the southwest coast, is the soft landing. You rent a houseboat and drift through the backwaters while someone cooks fresh fish curry right on board, and life on the shoreline just glides by like a movie you don't want to end. Hampi is the other kind of calm, ancient ruins scattered through massive boulders that make it feel like you're on another planet. It's cheap, it's laid back, and the little traveler cafes are made for long, slow afternoons. Budget talk: skip the upgrades, and you can genuinely live well on $15 to $20 per day. That's especially true outside the biggest metros, with simple guest houses and local food. A thali can be $1 to $2. You walk out full, and your bank app is still chilling. Even long train rides can cost less than a short taxi back home. Just keep small bills. Change can be the real boss. If you want a hidden corner, skip the Taj Mahal crush and look to India's Seven Sisters in the northeast. Meghalaya gets nicknamed the Scotland of the East, with living root bridges you hike to through jungle and villages that feel unusually clean and calm. India isn't for everyone. It's loud, chaotic, and kind of incredible. Culture shock level 1 to 10. How brave are you? Drop a number and tell me what would be the hardest part for you. After India, where it can feel like everything is happening at once, I always crave a place where you just look up and remember how to breathe again. That place is Nepal. In Nepal, your first morning can be dal bhat, a thermos of tea, and snow peaks outside the window. After India, it feels like someone turned the world down to half volume. And the best part is, you don't need to be a hardcore hiker to get something huge out of it. Nepal's been leaning into shorter treks that still deliver the full wow. Pokhara is the reset button. It's a lakeside city where you recover from trail legs, paddle on Thewa Lake, grab a slow breakfast, then look up and see the Annapurna Range sitting there like a screensaver. If you want one adrenaline day without committing to a massive expedition, paragliding here can be surprisingly affordable, and the views feel unreal. The budget magic is the Teahouse system. You hike village to village and sleep in simple mountain lodges. Prices can be shockingly low on the right routes, especially outside peak season. In some areas, the room stays cheap if you eat dinner and breakfast there, which is usually just a few dollars per meal. That's how Nepal can land in that $20 to $25 per day lane once you're on the trail. You're paying for warmth, calories, and a bed, not luxury. And the people? I still remember arriving dusty and tired, and a guest house owner just quietly sliding a cup of hot tea across the table like they'd been expecting me all day. Namaste isn't just a greeting there. It feels like someone offering you a little peace. If you want something off the main trekking conveyor belt, Sum Valley, north of Gorkha near the Tibet side, is a wild option. It's not the easiest one to pull off, and that's kind of the point. Tibetan Buddhist culture, old cliffside monasteries, and an off-grid quiet where phone signal becomes a rumor. A lot of you are probably thinking the same thing right now. Okay, these places sound cheap, but the flights to get there are insane. And you're not wrong. So the next section is all about the one problem nobody warns you about: how to reach cheap destinations without letting airfare blow up the whole trip. Stop trying to buy one perfect ticket straight to the final destination. That's the trap. Buy your way into a price war airport first, then grab the last hop cheap on a regional budget airline, a ferry, or an overland hop. 2 steps, 1 lower total, especially for places with fewer nonstop options like Nepal, Laos, Albania, or smaller Indonesian islands. Nepal is the cleanest example. If Kathmandu looks wild, aim for a major hub like Delhi, Bangkok, or Kuala Lumpur, then tack on the short flight into Nepal. Those big hubs have more competition, which is why the add-on leg often lands in a totally different price bracket. Just make sure the transit rules match the plan. Some cheap hubs only stay cheap if you can legally transit the way you're routing it. In the Balkans, Albania sits across the Adriatic from Italy and just above Greece's Corfu Island. Rome or Milan can be your entry point. Then a carrier like Wizz Air gets you into Albania. If you're already on Corfu, that ferry hop over can be roughly 30 to 90 minutes depending on operator and conditions. Laos works the same way. Bangkok is the hub. From there, you either fly straight into Vientiane or go overland to Nong Khai in northeast Thailand and cross the Friendship Bridge into Laos. The first time I did a hub plan like this, it felt a little, wait, is this allowed? Then I watched the total drop and never went back. And once you stop forcing a destination, the search gets even easier because you can let the cheapest map pick for you. Most people flight shop like this: Bali, June 15th. Then the price pops up and the whole vibe turns into calculator mode. Flip it. Start with, I'm free in June. Where is the cheapest place that still feels worth it? Open Google Flights and hit Explore, or use Skyscanner with Everywhere. 3 steps. Pick your airport, pick your month, then let the map show you the deals. Enter your departure city, New York, London, Sydney. Leave the destination blank, choose the month, and look at the map. Prices pop up all over the world like little neon signs. You'll see stuff that makes zero emotional sense. Like Japan sitting at $1,200 one week, while Vietnam randomly dips closer to $700. A friend of mine did this by accident. They were dead set on Italy, saw the price, got annoyed, hit Explore, and Bosnia popped up way cheaper for the same month. Same PTO, same suitcase, totally different bill. That's when it clicks. Airfare isn't fair, it's a moving target. You're not chasing a destination, you're catching a dip. If you can slide a few days, check nearby airports. And keep your dates loose. You start finding trips that never appear when you search locked to one exact day. This tees up the next move, because sometimes the cheapest trip isn't about where you arrive, it's about where you leave. Open-jaw flights let you fly into one city and fly home from another, so you're not paying time and money to backtrack. Think Hanoi in, up north, travel down the country, Ho Chi Minh City out, in the south. Round trips sound tidy, until you realize they can quietly steal a whole day and a chunk of your budget. Open jaw keeps your trip moving forward instead of making you retrace your steps like you forgot something on the stove. All it means is this: you land in City A, you leave from City B. Vietnam is the easiest way to picture it. You fly into Hanoi in the north, spend your time working your way down the country, then fly home from Ho Chi Minh City in the south. No expensive turnaround and go back day. No extra hotel night in the first city just because your return flight is there. And you're not buying a separate domestic ticket just to get back to where you started. I did an open jaw like this once, and it basically handed me an extra day of vacation. Instead of spending my last full day in transit just to return the loop, I spent it eating, wandering, and actually enjoying the place I was already in. Then I flew home from there. That's the sneaky win. You're not paying money to waste time. Sometimes it even prices out cheaper than a classic round trip, because airlines like filling odd empty seats on different routes. Even when it's the same price, the real savings is your calendar. One more piece ties all of this together, and it's the simplest: timing. In 2026, flights still behave like a supply and demand game, which is why the day you fly can matter as much as where you fly. Same trip, same seat. But the price jumps just because you moved your flight from Sunday to Tuesday. That's timing. Airfare in 2026 still follows supply and demand. When everyone wants the same flights, the numbers climb. When demand chills out, airlines suddenly find availability. That's why Fridays and Sundays usually hurt. They're the classic getaway and return days. If you can swing it, Tuesday or Wednesday often shows better prices because fewer people are trying to travel midweek. Same logic everywhere. Any big local holiday week can spike flights, even if you don't celebrate it. China is a clean example because the surges are dramatic. Lunar New Year and the early October holiday week can turn a normal fare into a "why is this happening" fare overnight. The sweet spot is shoulder season, right before or right after peak. Europe in May or September into October can still feel like real summer, just without peak season pricing. Southeast Asia in November is great in a lot of places. March to April can be awesome too. Just watch local holiday weeks and heat. Stack this with the other moves: hub stops, reverse search, open jaw, and you're not begging for deals. You're picking dates and routes that make expensive airfare way harder to justify. Cheap on the ground is one thing. Airfare is what actually kills the budget. Now I want the real stuff from you. What's a country you've been to that felt way better than expected, without costing a fortune? Great food, decent stays, easy transport. Something I didn't mention in this video? Drop a comment with the country plus one real detail: your rough daily spend, the moment you realized it was a steal, or the one tip that made it cheaper. I read these, and the best answers turn into the next video: actual traveler intel, not copy-pasted lists. One quick note: prices and rules change fast. If you see a newer update or something I got slightly off, say it in the comments. I'll pin the most accurate one so nobody gets burned. See you in the next one.